I'm trying to get my head around the idea of religious naturalism, which I've only just really started researching. I've come across the term a few times and been pointed to one or two books and websites and so on, and I've looked at that. But I am, completely a complete novice in that area, really. But I guess I'm just trying to out what kind of problems I have at this point coming into this as an idea, or what problems I'm anticipating in my own thinking. And it really relates to some other stuff I've talked about before, really. And it's to do with disposition. It's to do with disposition. Because it seems to me that, from what little I know of religious naturalism, it's based on a kind of completely fact-driven, materialistic, not crudely materialistic, but sophisticatedly materialistic appreciation of the world around us, the wider universe, the findings of science, all of that kind of stuff, and then takes an attitude towards that which is more conventionally understood, that would more conventionally be found within religion, which is attitudes to do with reverence, to do with the recognition of the sacred, to do with ecstasy perhaps, to do with communion perhaps, to do with rapture, to do with behaviours like worship, possibly to do with things like submission and belief. I don't know how much they would figure, but maybe that'd be part of that. So basically all of the kind of dispositional baggage that's usually associated with conventional religious belief is exported and laid onto a naturalistic understanding of the world around us, and presumably, things like psychology, which try to articulate, and philosophy, which try to articulate our relationships in that world as well. Two problems I have with that. First problem is to do with the necessity of that kind of larding, which is, if the world is as it is, why do I need to adopt a particular psychological state in relation to that? What's added to the picture by my adopting a kind of reverent or sacred attitude towards it? The world stays the same, whether I'm religious about it or whether I'm completely sacrilegious about it. That's the first thing. I mean, there might be reasons. Maybe I just don't know those reasons. And those reasons might be, as simple as consolations in the usual explanations which are around religion, or there might even be some kind of good empirical reason why it would be useful to adopt a certain kind of attitude. I just don't know. But at the moment, I'm not seeing one, I have to say. And the second thing is, partly to do with that attitude, but it's partly to do with the fact that that disposition, that stance one takes to the natural world, a kind of religious mindset that one has on the world around us. I mean, presumably, if that religious mindset is itself a natural thing, which I'm assuming it is, we're all born with the ability to have those kinds of religious mindsets. We're all capable of being awestruck by the stars at night and so on. Then the origins of that disposition, the origins of that emotional state, the origins of that particular mindset must lie in our evolutionary history and in the instantiation of our existing embodiment. And I don't know why I would have an embodiment and an evolutionary history which propels me towards that kind of an attitude. I think it's unlikely, I have to say. I think it's more likely that, or certainly as it's applied in that kind of way, I think it's more likely that I would have that kind of an attitude and that kind of an emotional response to quite specific experiences, to quite specific survival opportunities, to quite specific opportunities for reproduction, if you like. And I know I'm really simplifying here, but that's kind of where I'm thinking with that. And in a sense, it just feels misapplied if I'm not careful. If I'm applying it to a kind of general sense of the natural world, then it feels like a misapplication. Because quite honestly, the natural world is not there for my benefit. It's not there to make me feel good. It's not there to make me feel part of it. The natural world, parts of it at least, would like to kill me. It would like me dead. I've got a couple of dogs. There's this guy swimming in the river down here, and he's a lovely dog, and I wouldn't swap him for the world. But I'm pretty sure that if I had some kind of seizure and I fell unconscious on the floor of the kitchen for 3 days, he'd probably get hungry after a couple of days and chew my face off. Realistically, that's what he would do, I think. So there's large parts of nature which I can kind of respect. I would absolutely respect guys' right to chew my face off if he hadn't been fed for 3 days. But I don't have to like it, and I certainly don't have to feel reverent about it or regard it as sacred, or think about worshipping it, because I can't imagine what worshipping a face-eating dog would look like. So it's just a little problem I've got there with it, really, to do with what comes off to me, at least at this point, is a kind of overweening relationship to nature. Which I've always had a problem with religion generally applied to the things that religion usually applies itself to, and I don't see how that's different when applied to nature. I quite like the idea of a sacriligious naturalism as well as a religious one, one that just says, nature, well, sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's not so nice. Sometimes I want to destroy parts of it, just like parts of it want to destroy me sometimes. And I don't feel the need to worship at nature's hem. I don't know if I've made sense of any of that. I don't know.